Hey guys, it's Mathel here once again with my last little update on the monk and the boss fights that have been happening since I've basically tried to do all of the end game that's available to me without sinking a lot more time into it. So in this video I'll just talk a little bit more about the monk setup, what the end game monk setup is looking like for our DPS and stuff, and also just some of the endgame boss fights. So this here is the Trial Master. Once you do 10 waves and then collect the 3 different fragments, kind of an arse system to be honest. Once you do that, you can then fight the Trial Master, and that is how I ascended. So I got my last ascendancy after that point, and it's, I'd say, going to be a lot easier to do than the Sanctum. If you hate that thing, then probably go the Ultimatum. That is the first version of the Breach boss. I basically didn't get to see any mechanics whatsoever because damage, so I don't know what that thing really does. But supposedly as you +1 every of these endgame encounters, you do get much more difficult versions of the bosses. That Sanctum boss just then there, the 2 thing, just got belled, so I didn't even get a chance to attack him, so the bell, pretty good. And then we've got the final boss of the Sanctum. I failed this guy a couple of times just as a mechanics check because I didn't know what the fuck the mechanics were. And then this time I killed him because I skipped the mechanics basically. So as always, damage is king. Get some damage is a good recommendation I have for you for a lot of these bosses and mechanics. And our monk has that in spades. So all of what you're seeing is still on 4 links. All of my characters are 4 linked. I haven't attached a 5th link or anything to any of my skills, but since the last video I did change the Tempest Bell links a little bit, and it is a bit weird. So it's not because I changed the links, but like as you can see here against this boss in particular, your name locking is still going to be weird. You have to position yourself a little bit against the bell to utilize it at its best. Because when you just name lock an enemy, your chances are going to be missing what you're trying to attack. This one in particular is very bad because he name locks very far away from where you would think you're going to be attacking him. But ideally, you're just placing your bell, taking a couple of steps back, positioning yourself nicely, and then attacking into the boss and the bell. So that problem has been slightly exacerbated with the support changes that I recently made to the bell, which I can show in game in a sec, but also mention them. I swapped out the extra area for Conc Effect and also more damage plus cooldown. So my bell does a lot more damage now, but it is very small and it's no longer really useful for clearing whatsoever. So it kind of sucks in that regard, but when you target it against bosses nicely enough, then you do much more damage, and it's actually pretty fucking crazy. So Bell is extremely powerful at this point, even on just small 4 links and stuff. And who knows, when we get more links, more supports in the end, we may actually just have even dumber and dumber damage. And then this is the Pinnacle boss fight. After doing the 3 fragments, getting the 3 things from your Atlas that have the tier 15, I can't remember what they're fucking called, strongholds or some shit. Once you get those 3, you can fight this Pinnacle boss, and you get 1 portal, unfortunately, and the first version of the boss has something like 10 million life, and he just got deleted, so I don't know what his mechanics were. I then went in and tried the second version, which means you spec +1, so he's a little bit harder, and I couldn't global him, and instead I had to deal with some mechanics, and unfortunately I have no idea what the fuck these mechanics were, and I sat there and I just died, and that's it. 1 portal down, 1 boss fucking victory. So with that, let me just show you my character with a few updates. Okay, so one last update on the monk to get us to this stage. We are level 90, pushing level 91. It gets pretty slow past like level 85, but keep doing your tier 15s and stuff, and it will level pretty quick, at least up until I'd say around 92. So this is our current stats and everything. We have 2200 life, bunch of evasion, thanks to Wind Dancer, which we incorporated last time, and our final ascendancy points that I should really talk about should be these. So for the purposes of the video and the rest of this sort of thing, I just took Unbound Avatar, just because it's a button to press for extra damage. But realistically, once you get your final ascendancy, you should unspec I Am the Thunder, keep I Am the Blizzard, and then go all the way into this. Because for my personal opinion, after testing it and seeing it, this may be one of the strongest ascendancy nodes in the game, and it's going to make your monk feel a lot more durable, and you're going to be able to face tank a lot of things that you previously were taking a lot of damage from. Without changing my build whatsoever, without getting extra evasion and stuff, speccing this takes me down to about 50-ish% evasion and gives me 50% armor, and it like meant that I could face tank things during ritual and map bosses. Yeah, and all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be extremely good, and if you actually go into more evasion, like on your tree or your actual gear, because my gear doesn't have that much, it'll be even thicker. So yes, I highly recommend this if you want to be thicker in the end. And then you can also do extra spirit reservation with this. I'd say once you're ready for that, you have more spirit, try and get an unset ring, and then try and get ghost shrouds on top of Wind Dancer, because that'll keep your evasion and energy shield up a good bit more. But I didn't manage to do that, and it wasn't really necessary for the content I was doing, so I didn't bother with that. So all of the character was still full length. One final update about all of that. The quality on Stormwave becomes very nice when you get 2 width beam. It's probably the first thing you want to put quality into, and it's possibly also the first thing you want to do for your 5 link, because you don't really feel like you need an extra link on Tempest Fury or Tempest Flurry or Tempest Bell. I'm not even sure what we'd attach, because we're kind of starved for choices at this point to add anything else. Whereas with Stormwave, once you have enough actual attack speed and stuff, you can attach Upheaval, and for mapping and big large scale mapping, you'll end up having these 3 beams instead of the 1. It's pretty situational, at least for me. It felt kind of situational. Like, yes, it's 3 beams, very good, but that 20 less attack speed just feels kind of bad throughout lots of different maps. So I liked just my single beam still more in a lot of situations. But on the really big open maps and breach and shit like that, the 3 beams are insane, and that's probably my first 5 link if I was going to do something like that. So to each their own, you know, do what you want, but I don't really have good recommendations for extra links at this point. If you're going to attach 5th and 6th links, just try and stare at your support screen and see what else you can do. So yeah, that's all I can really say about that. And as far as gear, I basically just tried to reconfigure a little bit to get a bit more flat damage and also finish my resists off. And then I also got attack speed on gloves. This is one of the only other sources of attack speed you can really get, so I would recommend trying to get some attack speed on gloves, attack speed on your weapon, and whatever attack speed you can get on a tree. That's pretty much all there is to it. Once again, power charges coming from Resonance, comboed with the fact that we have good cold damage and freeze, and then are using Combat Frenzy. So I think that's about all I can say about the monk. I absolutely loved playing it. I could still make a lot of upgrades on the character and keep playing it deep into endgame. It'd be worth it, it'd be cool, but I do at the same time want to explore other things too, so I probably should move on. If you're looking for a character that's a real tight melee experience plus some safety of the range, then Monk is your boy. It can also get thick in the end. We aren't very thick in this current situation. You're gonna have to play the game, but this is a kind of build and a kind of character that really pays off the more you put into it. The more hours, the more like gameplay, play style, the more you learn about your build, the more you get in contact with your build, then the better it's going to be. And yeah, I couldn't recommend it enough, but it's certainly not for everyone, and it's certainly not something that's going to be a pure face roll. So this is, I think, the prime pivotal PoE 2 experience. Hopefully some other things out there feel at least half as good, and I'll hopefully find them and get into them as well. So that's probably the last one I'll say on the monk. I doubt there's another video. There shouldn't be a need for another one unless I'm fighting the ultimate Pinnacle boss and stuff, which, who knows, maybe in the future. with that, thank you very much for watching, and see you guys next time.